Today I'm going to show you how I used a basic Tremolo plugin and this old fart to make a really interesting string sound. First things first, we need to get on the same page as to what tremolo is, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about when I say tremolo. Think back to 1999, and this is the sound of tremolo. Admittedly, that's an extreme example of what tremolo sounds like, but it's essentially something that raises and lowers the volume at a steady pace. But in some situations, you can use it to add a vibrato-like sound to an existing track. I've got pulled up this month's song from Dueling Mixes. Check it out, duelingmixes.com. You'll be glad you did. And in this song, it's a beautiful acoustic song with a bigger full band section at the end. And there's this nice little string section that comes in, a couple of violins and a cello. And I think they're done with virtual instruments, but I'm not sure. And they sound really good, but I wanted something more out of them. So what I did is use a tremolo plugin, and I magically tied it to this thing right here to create a realistic sounding vibrato that made the strings come to life. Let me show you how I did it. All right, here's the song in question. These orange tracks here are the string tracks. We're getting into the bigger chorus of the song. Let me give you a quick listen so you can hear what it sounds like.
And if you need someone to love, darling, you got me. Lay your head.
So I've added a bunch of reverb and even a slapback delay to the strings just to give them just to help them kind of surround us and give us a big hug in the song. And you could leave it there, and that's just fine. In case you're wondering, I've got an EQ on here that's doing a big old boost in the high frequencies to make it feel a lot brighter and to cut through a little more. But in addition to that, I wanted something else. I wanted to feel the movement of the strings. And when I think about strings, I'm not a cello player, I am a guitar player, and so I know a little bit about playing vibrato. And vibrato technically is a change in pitch, but you can kind of fake it using tremolo to create this kind of warbly sound. So you've probably heard vibrato most notably in singing when you sing a note. That shakiness at the end, it can be really artistic and cool. And string sections tend to do it really well, where they'll start the note straight, and then they'll start to add in vibrato as they hold the note out. If you've ever watched an orchestra, it's really beautiful to watch their hands move to the note and then start to do that shake back and forth, right? So that's what I wanted to. I wanted to kind of create that on my own using just the tools that I have available. So the first thing I did was I added a plugin that comes with Studio One called X-Trem. It's just a tremolo. And if we pop it open here, she blows. It's super simple. It's got a depth control, which is how much are we turning the volume up and down, and then it's got a speed control. And when I add that to the track, if I turn this depth all the way up to 100%, you'll hear it very obviously right here. So that's not what I wanted. That's a little over the top. But I did want to have some there, kind of like this. It's got that movement to it versus the before. But at the same time, I like the way the notes begin. That kind of slow build to the notes. So I want it to have more of a straight sound at the beginning and then kind of develop into a vibrato. Only way to do that with a plugin is to automate it. But here's where it gets cool. Now, I happen to have one of these ancient but awesome little boxes called the PreSonus Faderport. And mostly I use it for the transport control buttons at the bottom and the fader, which obviously I can use to adjust the volume of instruments. Even though I have the mixer here that can act as a control surface, I really do like the Faderport. And here's one of the reasons I like it the most. A lot of people don't know this, but you can actually assign the fader to things other than volume. For example, we've got this depth control here that we want to start automating up and down. If I right click on it, assign depth to fader on Faderport. Burp, burp. I do that, and now guess what happens? When I move the fader on the fader port, look what happens. The depth moves up and down, which means I can essentially ride the depth control using the fader to really give it the exact feel that I want. Because let's admit it, there's hardly a better way to control things musically than with a fader when you want to control things like volume, or in this example, this depth control. So what do I do now? All I do is I've got the depth control selected. I add an automation lane in Studio One. Now, whatever system you use will be slightly different, but the effect is the same. And I'm going to put it into automate mode. We'll go into touch mode, and I'm going to start writing in automation. So that means when I move this fader, it's going to record that move, which I'm sure you have seen in other videos, but I'm going to do it real quick to show you the idea, okay? All right, I'm going to listen to just the string so you can really hear what's happening. Pull it down here in the lower section, and let's see what happens. Now, if you're more comfortable going in and actually drawing this automation in, go for it. Sometimes writing things on a fader can be more annoying than helpful. But this is something that's not a volume ride. It's really simple. You can't really mess it up. And then we listen back, and it's just a very subtle thing, but to my ears, it feels a little more like a real string section.
And if you need someone to love, darling, you got me. Lay your
To me, that feels more authentic, and it's something I can feature more prominently in the mix and not feel unsure about it, because it sounds a lot more like a real string section to me. So there you have it. If you find yourself working on a track that just feels a little lackluster, try something like this on it, and it might just bring it to life. And if you want to get better at mixing and want to mix this song plus 60 plus maybe 70 other songs in the back catalog library, you need to try out Dueling Mixes. You can join today for a free 14-day trial, and you get to see how I mix this song and all the other songs, also how Graham Cochran mixed the songs, and then you can mix it yourself. It's a pretty sweet deal. Thanks for watching. See ya.
And if you need someone to love, darling, you got me. Lay your head on my shoulder. Let your worries be. You're a muse to my days, and you know that always. And then when I need someone to love, darling, I have you, and you have me.